Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is Many a True Nerd, and welcome back to Crusader Kings 2. Where last time, big things happened. England finished punching each other in the face and seemed to have settled down, at least for the time being. And poor Duke Cadog finally passed on. It was probably for the best. And we have got a new king. It was a smooth transition, but, things aren't entirely rosy. We'll go into that in a second. But let's kick off today with everybody's favourite game show. Let's talk all about the things that John got wrong. Yes, we're going to have another episode of that. These are going to show up every few episodes where I try and correct a few things. So, let's start off talking about the Liege Council. Because, and honestly, I don't think this is really my fault. This is just really bloody weird. So I've just loaded an old autosave so I can demonstrate this. Oh! Cadog's still alive, you magnificent bastard. No. Move on. We have to move on. So, in a Liege Council, you can basically set your position. You can set it as Loyalist, Pragmatist, Glory Hound, Zealot, or Malcontent. And the council can be content or discontent. So, I worked on the assumption, quite a reasonable assumption if I do say so myself, that if enough of the council were to declare themselves malcontent, the council would become discontent. No, these two things are totally unrelated to each other, apparently. The council only becomes discontent under certain very specific circumstances, such as they always become discontent when a new ruler takes over, even if it was quite a smooth transition and it's a continuity ruler, which is kind of odd, but whatever. And if the king basically decides to overrule the council in some way, and thus they think he's acting like a tyrant, the council will become discontent at that point as well. But it doesn't actually matter if you list yourself as a malcontent, that makes no difference whatsoever. The only purpose of it, as far as I can tell, is it gives you an indication whether someone on the council is likely to always vote against you just because they're not currently content. So it's kind of useful for figuring out what the AI are going to do, but I'm not quite sure why the player's even allowed to actually make a declaration, because it doesn't seem to actually do anything. So, sorry about that, but I feel like that's a really confusing system that malcontent and discontent on the same council are completely unrelated. Number 2, up to this point I had been a little bit worried that the Welsh might actually sort of band together to deal with me if I caused trouble down in the south of Wales. Apparently that's not a thing. The only reason I thought that was a thing is in some of the test games which I played before I actually started playing the version you're seeing, just so I knew what the hell was actually, going on. It looked to me on occasion like certain cultural groups would band together if an outsider came into their territory, like a Breton trying to take over Wales. As it turns out, that's not a mechanic in the game, so I'm going to assume what I saw was a situation where there was a pact or alliance between the various Welsh factions that I just didn't notice. So, I don't need to worry about that. I can actually attack this area down here, unless there's actually some form of alliance arranged formally between these two, they're not going to come and get involved. The only exceptions to that rule, as far as I'm aware, are kind of special wars like crusades and stuff like that. But in day-to-day war, I don't need to worry about the Welsh basically saying, hey, even though we're not allied, let's all get together to kick out the outsiders. Thankfully, that's not a thing, so that makes my life a bit easier. And finally, attributes, and this is the big one. Yeah, understanding this now makes me realise I'm not quite in such a good position as I was hoping for. So, attributes are these things, up here by the way. Your individual 5 stats for diplomacy, martial, stewardship, intrigue, and learning. You've got your own personal stats, and then you've got your state stats, which as I've mentioned before are built out of your personal stats, plus half of your wife's stats in the relevant stat, plus the relevant councillor's relevant stat. So in the case of diplomacy, my diplomacy stat, half of my wife's diplomacy stat, and the entire diplomacy stat of my chancellor, because he's the diplomacy council member over here. So in this case, it's Sancho Enriquez. Lovely. Welcome to the court, by the way. You are still pretty darn new. Unfortunately, sometimes the game uses your attribute, and sometimes it uses the state attribute, and it kind of means that all attributes aren't really created equal, which I didn't realise. So I did spot last time that my army was looking a little bit on the modest side. That's because of this. My new king, Conan III, has a martial score of 3, which is pretty much as bad as it gets, unfortunately. And your personal martial score basically gets translated directly into how many troops I can raise. So the number of troops is calculated as a base of the military buildings in each of your territories. So in the case of Cornwall, yeah, my main capital has 720 troops, and then 314 and 360 there. So a very, very healthy amount. But if I actually call up my military, only 517 guys actually appear. Though it will actually go up to like 713. It's just taking a bit of time to recharge at this exact moment in time. I think the levies the levies here are a tiny bit on the low side. So why is that number a lot lower than it should be? Because it's being modified by my personal martial score. If my martial score is very low, then only 50% of the entire levy will actually bother showing up for me. If my martial skill is very high, then I can get a bonus 50% on top of what the actual levy should be. So that's not very good news. Right now, my armies are a lot weaker than they were a moment ago. One, because I've had to actually give away this bit of land over here, so that's no longer part of my personal levies. And two, these two territories I do actually have left under my direct control are now actually producing a lot less men. And what I was saying a moment ago about all attributes not being created equal, yeah, that's because sometimes if you personally have a poor attribute, it kind of really screws you over, even if you've got good counsellors. Other attributes, it doesn't really seem to matter so much. So your personal intrigue seems to be relatively unimportant. As far as I can tell, things like figuring out plots against you and how powerful your plots are against everyone else, that's all a function of state intrigue. Your personal intrigue doesn't really seem to matter. So your leader can have quite poor intrigue, and as long as you've got a very good spy master and potentially a wife with high intrigue, that's absolutely fine. You can still be very, very good at plotting and spotting plots against you. So the two big ones, as I now understand, so I think I'm getting this right, are basically martial and stewardship. Because your personal martial score impacts how many troops you can field, which is a huge, huge deal. The state marshalship, meanwhile, doesn't really seem to matter much at all. I think it's replenishment rate for both your army and for the levies, but honestly, that's nowhere near as big a deal as just being able to field a whole bunch of troops. Stewardship, meanwhile, is very, very important because that actually converts directly into how big your domain can be. So in this case, my base is 1. Because I've actually got a decent stewardship of level 8, I get +1 off that, and I just passed the new low rather than 0 centralization law, so that's another +1 there. So I can actually have 3 territories that I'm controlling directly. But if I had high stewardship, I'd be able to have a bigger domain, the equivalent of more core systems in Stellaris, and obviously core systems are directly into my control. I can raise the troops myself whenever I want to. I get more money, having more domain, very, very powerful indeed. So really, I ought to have a king with the highest stewardship and martial possible. That strikes me as the safest thing. Though I don't mind the fact that I've got very good diplomacy, because I do quite like diplomacy. Having basically just a relationship buff with everyone in the world, that's no bad thing at all. However, it does leave me in a bit of an awkward situation right now, which is I'm not sure I've even got the men for the minute to actually take out South Wales whenever my Chancellor finally gets around to fabricating a claim on what's hopefully going to be the duchy rather than just one of these individual counties. So, how are we going to sort that out? One, I need to make sure I'm always floating enough money to buy mercenaries, because if someone goes to war with me, I might not actually have the troops to fight them off right now. I'm a lot weaker than I was before Caddock died. 2, as soon as I've actually got a couple of children out, I might actually change my focus. Right now I'm on a family focus, and I will be at bare minimum for the next, 3.5 years or thereabouts. If, however, I were to go over to a war footing, then obviously that would actually get my martial skill up quite significantly. Hunting might not be a bad idea either. That's also martial skill up plus a bit of health. Health doesn't hurt at all. But bear in mind, these don't just change your attributes, they also change what random events are going to be spawning in the world. So if I actually put myself in a war footing, I'm more likely to have martial related events showing up, and hopefully, if I pick correctly in those, I can actually respec my character a little bit towards being more of a war leader. As I understand it, the bare minimum I need to actually not lose any of my own levy is a martial skill of 10. So as time goes by, we're going to need to get this guy up a little bit. And by the way, the future is no more rosy, because right now the Tannist is John, and he's very uninspiring for the minute. I'm not sure what I can do, however, to influence him much at this point. Obviously, he's now an adult. He's not under my care anymore, so he's just, living his own life. Potentially, I could actually appoint him as a commander. It's probably a very, very bad idea because his martial skill is terrible, but if there happens to be a very, very easy fight going at some point, I could put John into combat just for the sake of giving him some martial experience. Though, once again, I'll be wanting King Conan III to actually try and lead the armies himself. But bear in mind, his personal martial skill also impacts how effective the troops he's leading are going to be. So not only are only half the troops showing up, they're going to fight worse than they would do. Yeah, low martial that's a problem. I've accidentally ended up with a very, very poor leader here. So hopefully that good old high diplomacy stat means that we'll be able to stay out of any trouble, because we can't deal with trouble right now. I did have one idea, however, which is, yeah, in the decision list, search for a smith. Now, just in theory, if I were to have like a massive, really fancy sword, it probably doesn't make me much better as a fighter, but I'm kind of hoping that might come with a couple of points of martial. So I'm going to send out word I'm looking for a smith, and we're going to see what happens as a result of that. And before that happens, I need to actually specify what I'm looking for here. So a weaponsmith for a deadly weapon. I'm needing a new set of armor, a goldsmith to create jewels befitting my status, or actually now might not be the best time. No, I'm sitting on a decent amount of money right now. I need a deadly weapon. If something's going to increase my martial skill, it feels like that's going to be a deadly weapon. Like, armor feels like it would improve my health, perhaps, and goldsmith presumably boosts my prestige. So let's go for weaponsmith and see who shows up. Also, I've just realised the young kid who just inherited Glamorgan, he's bloody useless at this too. Marshal of 1. Oh dear. Affectionate, humble, and patient. Yeah. This kid is apparently not a born military leader. But right now, we're under the effect of a regent who appears to be a nun. Okay, we are not exactly a badass nation of warriors right now. Quite frankly, I'm surprised people didn't vote for my brother Howl, because Howl does actually have 15 martial, which would be really nice right now. But that diplomacy one's pretty bad too. Yeah, I think what we need to do is, the next few children that actually come through the court, we need to get some sons trained up with a good martial education, because I significantly underestimated how much we need that. And actually, Howl could be an excellent teacher for them, because he's actually got himself, yeah, brilliant strategist, the top tier level 4 education perk for military. Okay, that's good. Also, I had one more idea for somewhere I need to spend some money. So my king and a significant portion of the court are going to be hanging out in Cornwall a lot of the time. So we need to protect Cornwall from disease. For that reason, even though it's a bit late on this occasion, I'm going to throw down a hospital. So that increases the disease resistance of a county. So therefore, hopefully, Cornwall should be more safe and also provide protection against depopulation. It'll take about a year to build, and it will indeed cost me, yeah, 100 odd gold. But if it potentially saves a king's life in future, that's got to be a sensible idea right there. So yes, we'll spend some money immediately on that. That's going to take some time to do. The other thing I should probably do is try and get more troops in production. If I've got a bit of a problem with my troops right now, I need more of them trained. So what I can do, of course, is just go straight into each of my individual holdings and get some more troops trained right there. So yeah, my county capital is probably an excellent candidate for that. Now, oh, this is tempting. I could spend a couple of years building a castle town. Castle town is, oh yeah, castle town being upgraded is a big pile more money. I mean, that's 50% more cash coming in constantly. That'd be really, really nice. But just for the time being, I think we need some more troops. So, more heavy infantry and more pikemen, or more light infantry and archers. Well, we've already got a decent volume of heavy infantry right now, and we've got very few archers. So, let's just go for some light infantry and archers. I think we just need boots on the ground right now. So, militia training ground, we'll spend 172 gold. Just get some more troops in. And that will actually begin happening immediately, because I think these two things, the hospital over here and the training ground over here, are technically on different like timers. So I don't need to wait for one to be done for the other to finish. Yeah, because work's begun here and work's begun here. Fine. So work is underway there. I've just spent a lot of money. I probably should have spent less money than that. The weaponsmith's going to show up in a second and offer me a really impressive sword, and I won't be able to bloody afford it. Oh well, no matter. Also, technically, I haven't nominated a successor yet, so I'm just going to quickly go through the family now to see if I can find someone better, because honestly, Howl wouldn't be a terrible idea, my brother. But yeah, if I understand it correctly, the whole point of Tanistry is it's supposed to actually keep the title bouncing around the family, not actually stuck in one branch. So people are more likely to vote for John because he's in a different branch. But once John's had his go, it'll probably return back over to this branch that Conan's in, because Conan is the son of Cadoc's half-brother. Also, why exactly isn't my sibling Alan the current spy master? Because I feel like he should be with bloody intrigue of 20. Ah, yes, the mayor of Bodmin, who's no longer a big deal, so screw him. Yes, welcome aboard, Alan. I think you'll do a much flipping better job at this sort of business. Though I do see the problem here. Quite frankly, we just don't have many decent male adults floating around the dynasty right now. Plenty of daughters, unfortunately, not that many sons. I mean, if we're very lucky, maybe Kador will actually turn out to be doing a good job. Yeah, he's actually being tutored at being better as a steward, so yeah, having a high steward king who might hopefully pick up some military traits as well wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Also, I'm just going to point out, if we'd all gone with my original suggestion and just elected Rio as our queen, right now we'd have someone with 16 diplomacy and 9 martial and 8 stewardship. So we'd all be in a much better position. She was an excellent call for ruler, but no, you all had to vote for Conan. You know what? I'm going to hold off my vote for the time being. There's no one I look at and think, yes, that's absolutely definitely the right person. However, I'm going to get Howl married off straight a flipping way because I feel like his children could just be, homosexual. Fine, that doesn't mean we can't get him married. It doesn't mean he doesn't have children. It just might take him a while. We'll just offset that by trying to get him like a really lustful wife or something. And this is useful. The search function, I can actually search for specific traits. So if I want to bring someone strong into the family, that could actually be very, very useful indeed. So yeah, this person is strong. Martial +2, and that's in a little green heart. So that could definitely be passed on. It's not guaranteed. I think it's only like 15% or something. But it's definitely not a bad idea. Plus, that gets her fertility up. So that kind of offsets the fact he's gay. Which really doesn't feel like how it should work, but it does, so here we are. This would unfortunately be very bad for his prestige, unfortunately. Do we have any better candidates from better houses? Well, actually, we've got this woman over here who's quick, which also provides bonus martial, but provides bonus everything else too. This feels like a more important thing to get into the family if we can. Right, Hal, you might not like me for this, but your children are going to thank me if they get born quick. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's see what happens when the weaponsmith I've summoned shows up. Because typically, when you summon someone through an event, it doesn't take too long for them to actually arrive. And there we go. That is the new wife for Howl. You two get on with having children. Figure it out, they'll be fine. And hopefully, those children might be extremely good quality for the next generation. So, crack on with that, though admittedly they're not going to have many children because he's gay. So, hopefully the ones they do have turn out to be decent. You know, we might get lucky on that. Oh yes, and one other thing that was mentioned to me, yeah, people said I should probably just send off my spy master to go and study some technology. So I've got a good spy master now, so 20% chance of studying technology, which I think means basically I just get it for free. So I may as well send him off somewhere good that's marked in green around here. Obviously somewhere not currently suffering from disease if at all possible. Maybe don't actually rob the Pope. Can you go over to... yeah, nip over to here. And these nice areas in this part of the world, you get on with that. And here's another thought on the council. Right now my armies are pretty small and insignificant, so how about I move this guy away from training troops into researching military tech. So as a result of that, we've actually got ourselves, yes, 75% military tech spread rate. Okay, that seems sort of good. Except when you say spread rate, spread? Is spread good? Hang on, is spread good? So right now military advances is going up by 0.4. Okay, I'm going to see what this actually does. I'm not 100% clear on what spread rate means. There we go, he's now improving the military technology spread rate in the capital. Which, again, not 100% sure what that actually means, but I just quickly looked that up online and I also didn't understand the explanation. But the implication seemed to be martial researching military tech in capital equals good! So we'll keep an eye on what that does. Oh, hello. This doesn't seem to involve me, but ooh. Right, the defensive pact opposing Alp Aslan Seljuk has been disbanded, presumably because he's now in prison. So, the price of decadence. The ruling dynasty of Seljuk Sultanate has been overthrown by zealous and hard-living tribesmen of the Boru dynasty. Former vassals may seize this opportunity. Why are you telling me this? Where are you exactly? Bloated fools, I respond, as if I have any idea what's just going on. Ah! Right, I do recognise what's going on over there. There was a massive great Seljuk country over there once. Right, that's now just been completely overthrown by this guy. Well, that's good for those guys and probably bad for the Byzantines. Meanwhile, back over here... ah, Howl! Hopefully you like your new wife, so you're going to bring me a good weaponsmith. So, what have we got here? a remarkable weaponsmith living in Welligrad. Suggested I invite the man to my court to see his work for myself. Okay, this is an intriguing idea. Apparently Howl actually likes me for that. Yeah, I'm going to cultivate Howl. His children could make for an excellent next generation of rulers. So this man is Master Alared, and he gestures toward his numerous assistants who all carry examples of his work. Does my king have anything special in mind? So what are we going to do here? A good sword may give, this is what I wanted, more martial than other weapons, and personal skill and monthly prestige. A lance is what I desire, so a bonus to commanding mounted troops as well as, I see. So these all seem to do basically the same thing. They're going to slightly improve prestige, personal combat skill, and martial. It's just where I want the focus to be. Either I want just straight up the biggest martial possible, or I want a little bit of martial, bit of personal combat, bit of prestige, but also a benefit when I'm commanding light, heavy, or cav. I'm going to go with the sword. I want a good sword, and please give me a really nice increase in martial, because that'd be really nice right now. So you crack on with that. How much is this going to cost, by the way? Can't cost that much. I mean, it cannot cost that much. Like, I pay a few gold a month for the upkeep of my entire private army. So, what is it going to... 55 gold. It's worth it, because that's a really big increase for me. That's got to be worth it. And apparently I've got no choice between something very high quality or nothing at all. I can't go for the cheap option. So that will increase my monthly prestige, martial, and personal combat skills. Go on then, but this better be good. Alright, this better be really good. Do I get it immediately? Have I got it right now? Where is it? Where is it right now? Hang on, where's my sword? Where's my sword? Because right now, this is still only 3. It better be... Well, I guess he has to go and make it. You know what? That's fair. He has to actually make the thing. Though it better be really fancy for 55 bloody gold. And here we go. This is promising. So, we've got children coming in. And I think now I understand better how to make good children to be future rulers. Now I know we don't want to be focusing so much on diplomacy. Stewardship and martial's the way to go. So... bit of prestige for that, lovely, which is good, because yeah, my prestige was not high, because prestige is, like everything in this game, unique to the character. I don't get to carry over Cadoc's prestige, that was his personal prestige. And it's not so much about spending prestige, it's just about having it. Having high prestige is just good for your relationship with other people. And by the way, ooh, okay, the plague seems to have cleared out of Cornwall itself. That is magnificently good news, because Cornwall is absolutely doing beautifully right now in its prospering state. So, hopefully we can offset that with the hospital. That's about halfway done. This is all... yeah, this is fine. This is a good starting point right here. Also, where's my sword? What happened to my cocking sword? Did you just run off? If that guy just basically runs off and I don't get my sword, I'm going to be very annoyed. How long does it take to make a sword? Well, probably quite a while. They're probably quite complicated. Well, not that complicated. I mean... you know, they are just basically a sharp bit of metal with a handle on the end. Oh, bloody hell, finally. There are no engravings or precious materials to enhance it. I spent 55 gold on this. I feel ripped off. Take this guy, put him in the dungeon, throw him away, imprison him immediately. Yeah, deceitful. I'm not too surprised. Maybe I should have checked that and... oh, bloody hell. Right, so basically I hands over 55 gold to a lazy, deceitful guy to make me a sword. You know what? I've brought this on myself. I deserve this. Oh, also he's got a martial skill of 1. A martial skill of 1, and he's dying of smallpox. Yeah, this was not a good time to ask for a sword, as it turns out. Still, this better still work. It's still a good sword, right? Right, beautiful new sword. No, we just established it wasn't beautiful. And... sorry, +1? Just +1? That's literally all I get? Oh, bloody hell. Okay, it is silver-hilted. I didn't think it was silver-hilted, but apparently it is silver-hilted. Whatever, fine. Ooh, and that means I've now got an actual treasury. La-di-da. So, that's prestige going up faster, martial +1, and personal combat skills +1. Now, because that's actually an item rather than anything else, does that mean I can actually pass that on? So I could actually unequip that. Right. So hopefully that will be auto-unequipped when he dies. But if he gets really old and he's no longer going on campaign, we might want to just try and remember to unequip that. Because passing on a new sword to the next person along might not be the worst thing in the world. But yes, that's That's a bit unfortunate that it's only +1. I was really hoping for like +2 at the bare minimum. And bare minimum, at least Hendrik's doing his job, handing over some extra gold. Good, that offsets the problems we just had with paying for the sword. And, yeah, in an emergency, we can just about afford some mercenaries, which we do need to keep floating some cash for. Though, I don't mind the fact that we have just, yeah, spent a little bit of money investing in hospitals and more troops. We do need some more troops. In fact, if anything, how much would even more troops cost us right now? In fact, this is actually quite cheap over here. Just over in Lidford, this is the capital of Devon. Getting those guys up to castle walls too. Levy size up just a tiny bit, but taxing him up a little bit as well. That's probably not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, go on. For only 72 gold, let's get working on that, because that's a little bit of extra troops, a little bit of extra money. It's very, very cheap indeed. Let's just start investing in these here territories. This is my capital and probably will be for some time, so I want to keep it prosperous and... Oh, Jeanette! Oh, Jeanette, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You never actually got another child, did you? No. No, you didn't. Your one child was a bastard child. I never even knew who the father was. It doesn't actually tell you, unfortunately, because the father's not recognised officially. So, yeah. Jeanette actually passed away. Finally died of cancer. And yeah, that means this guy is now potentially up for remarrying. Now, this guy is potentially of interest to me, because, yeah, he's actually got some strong claims that can be inherited. So, as you're part of the faction already, I would like those passed down, just in case, but, oh, a moment silent for Jeanette. Jeanette did not have a good life. She didn't have a good life at all. Very, very sad indeed. Okay, that's enough silence. Right, let's get this guy remarried at this point. So, back to the marriage market. You know, in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have invited an extremely high intrigue ambitious person into the court, should I? No, that could go wrong. Right, we might want to keep an eye on this guy. Honestly, it's not a great marriage market for him. There's no one with any spectacular traits floating around or any particularly desirable titles I want to marry in, so I'm just going to give him someone who can actually bring into the family, yeah, skilled tactician, so a pretty decent martial trainer to actually be the guardian and educator of the next generation of much better soldiers. Now, I could go for this woman, but she's 40, so she won't necessarily be around that long, even though she's a tiny bit better, and yeah, she won't be able to have any children, or rather, she might be able to get out like maybe 1, 2 at an absolute push, but we'll leave that be for the time being. Let's just actually stick with you. You'll be perfect, yes. Oh, excellent news in England, though. The King of England has just had a daughter. Literally just born. So, we need to get on that right now and get her betrothed to one of mine. Because if there's one thing I do not want right now, it's any form of trouble with England. So a non-aggression pact with England is absolutely what I want. My focus should be on Wales and then maybe Ireland, maybe Brittany. One of those two. I don't need to be dealing with England for some time. I'm not strong enough to deal with England for some time. If England ends up like completely collapsing or whatever, I might give it a look-see, but just for the time being, leave it be. I need to set up a betrothal. Right, let's get this arranged right now. You, your newborn baby, should be betrothed to one of mine. Now, I'm going to need to offer you someone good for this sort of thing, and, who do we want? No. Okay, desires a better non-aggression pact. This guy likes me, and the prestige would apparently be fine, but it's not quite enough, even though Kador is actually in quite a good position. Except apparently they would say yes to Alan. Right. So Alan, who is apparently not married right now, I probably should have married Alan already. Right, would you be willing to maybe take, like, someone else by any chance? Because this is kind of weird. I mean, Alan is 24, and it wouldn't be terrible for him to get married to somebody, like, immediately or something. But then again, Alan would pick up prestige, and I've got enough people producing children. I don't need him to be producing children immediately. Right, so by the time she comes of age, which I think is at 16 in this game, he's going to be 40. So, you know, that's quite an age difference. But let's be honest, this is really about their non-aggression pact. That's what I want. I want the non-aggression pact. What we really need to do is sit down with the King of England and explain to him how Tanistry works, because I understand what he's going for here. He wants to marry Alan as opposed to Kador, because Alan is the brother to the leader, and right now Kador's on a different branch of the family. But Tanistry means, yeah, Kador will probably, in time, move straight back to being the king's brother, or maybe even the king himself if he turns out to be good. Who bloody knows? So he's just as valuable, but no, the AI doesn't really seem to react to the fact that I am a Tanistry succession kingdom, so as a result, doesn't seem to acknowledge that. Okay, well, in that case, I guess what we're doing right now is, Alan, I'm very sorry about this if you were looking to, like, get married or anything, but, no, actually, Alan wants to just gain a title. Bad news, Alan, you're not gaining that. You're instead gaining a wife-in-waiting. She's literally just been born. This game is weird and sometimes makes me feel uncomfortable, but just, we're doing it for the non-aggression pact, go! And also, the Pope's just sent me a message, because apparently Flavia was one of his, so do I not have marriage ties to the Pope? If I've got marriage ties to the Pope, that'd be useful. No, sadly, that has not yet been acknowledged. That's a shame. By the way, your Popiness, could I maybe actually, like, swap some piety for... No, I don't have enough piety, and he'd probably say no anyway, to be honest. Great, that's a new woman in the court, so they can start producing some children. And there's the big one. That's what I wanted right there. So, I believe, does the pact become a thing immediately? You don't gain the prestige until the marriage goes through, I think. But I think the pact actually comes through. Oh, yeah. Non-aggression pact. So, me and him have a non-aggression pact right now. Now, the pact only survives as long as the two people are alive. But that should hopefully be a while. Because right now, yeah, King Conan is only 25... And the King of England right now is 37. And it looks like the epidemic is wandering off at this point. So, we're in good shape indeed. Less good if you're part of Scotland. Scotland might be about to lose a bit of territory to some of the islanders over here. Yeah, Scotland's not in great shape at all. But actually, a weak Scotland's not a bad idea. If I ever want to take England, I'm probably going to have to unite the Celtic countries first. I'm going to need to build Wales, sort out Ireland, take Scotland in some order. Maybe Brittany as well. Brittany looks easier to take, but hang on. Get me the de jure kingdoms up here. Ah, this is interesting. There's actually a kingdom of Brittany. So I'm not annoying the King of France by coming over there and sorting out Brittany. Brittany is supposed to be its own independent kingdom. Now that could be of interest. The Kingdom of Brittany. I should probably start keeping half an eye out for titles that pertain to that. Actually, no. There's no titles pertaining to the Kingdom of Brittany, because right now it doesn't actually exist. Back to realms, please. And just control-click to get you back to how you should be. Yeah, Brittany is small. Just 5 counties that all seem to be mostly linked together. Yeah, this guy here runs these two. Are you technically no, you're a petty king. You've just got yourself a couple of vassals down here, so I'm guessing that means technically you must be duke level, because for people to be reporting into you, you have to be not a vassal count yourself or not an earl. And this guy running these 2 territories. Fine. Picking those off shouldn't be that hard. Or at least it wouldn't be if I had a king who actually knew how to lead an army. Let's just quickly check how the disease is going, by the way. Yeah. It's pretty much burnt out of England right now. There's a tiny handful of smallpox over here, though that might spread, because I'm pretty sure that started in England and now has spread to the continent. So there might be some severe smallpox problems about to spread and eventually burn themselves out. But at least England looks fairly calm and under control for the time being. And here we go. Children lacking education focus. Who is that? It's always girls. Girls can't really be king, unfortunately. I mean, I'd have no problem with Rio leading us right now, but no one's willing to bloody vote for her. So, what's your deal exactly? Margaret, who's your father? Your father is... Ah! Your father is actually King What's-His-Face of Powers, the guy who I welcomed into my court, married Rio, and then he just went off and did his own thing. So you, my girl, are one day potentially going to inherit this here area. Though actually, hang on. Let's just check their succession laws quickly. County of Powys. Agnatic Gavelkind. Okay, so basically the eldest inherits, but it gets split up. But Powys is only one territory, so it doesn't really matter that that place is running under Gavelkind rules. So, bit of a mixed bag for you. I guess we send you over to a learning education. That seems to be the one thing you've actually got a bit of a gift for. Maybe in future, there might be a possibility we could actually have you doing something useful in that regard on the council as the court chaplain. Oh, that feels like that might be quite a long way off, given many countries are still struggling with the problem of women bishops today. Still, we'll see what she can do. We don't exactly have many people with good quality learning in our court, to be honest. The best we've actually got is the Doctor, who is a dutiful cleric, learning +3, intrigue -1. Yeah, go on then. You try and keep an eye on her. We'll see what we can do. And here we go. We have got ourselves... Oh, this is perfect. We've actually got our first son in. Honestly, I doubt he looks like that having just been born. Like, at that point you start asking your wife some questions. When you walk into the room, she's just had a baby and she presents that to you, because that's not right. Oh, and magnificent starting point here. The child is sickly and might not survive infancy. Okay, to help him along, what we need to do is give him, like, a really, really, really good name. This child shall not be Hylock. This child shall be Havoc. No child called Havoc could just die of being a sickly baby. It's impossible. My court physician is worried about my newborn son. Havoc is a feeble little thing. Oh god, don't let that doctor anywhere near him. Last time I asked for his advice, he made me eat a cat. Okay, so either the doctor does his best to treat your son, or you don't give him any medicine and we just wait and see what happens. Quite frankly, I'm not sure what's more likely to make him survive. My doctor is terrible. He's just absolutely dreadful. Alright, the doctor gets one chance to do this. If the doctor messes this up, I am basically kicking the doctor out of here. Possibly I'm just going to toss him in the dungeon and we're going to get ourselves a new doctor. Because I've not been impressed with this guy at all. And it turns out that Dumnarth and Howell are not on the best of terms. That's my dad and my brother. So, as a result, yeah, because I've got the family focus, we're inviting them here together. We'll see if they actually get on better with each other. And as it turns out, I know I'm great and deserve respect. I've gained the proud trait. Proud is not good. That's a deadly sin right there. But it apparently just gets me bonus prestige, so that's not a bad thing. But I'm guessing it can lead to, yeah, negative interactions and traits down the line when people get sick of me being so bloody proud. And there we go. Family focus has worked nicely there. Those two are now much better friends. Whatever the doctor did, I can't see any improvements in little Havoc. My son still seems worryingly lethargic. His subdued cries send chills down my spine. Okay, so the doctor has failed, as he seems to fail in everything. Smallpox carried off some of my best people in the recent epidemic. He basically gave Caddock a cat, which did admittedly keep him alive for a bit, but he still died. The syphilis was not cured. Now he's failing to make my baby recover. Okay, let's just quickly check what the process would be here. So I can only look for a court physician once every 3 years. Okay, but I'm guessing the problem is I've already got a court physician. I think it might just be time to kick this guy out, but he's got one chance. Okay, my baby's life is currently in his hands. Little Havoc must live. If Little Havoc dies, just FYI, Doctor, right, you will share his fate. Things will happen to you in my dungeon. You will not enjoy them. Oh, and hello, what's this? We've got ourselves movement in Powys, moving into... Did Powys just attack? I think Powys is just... Wait, hang on. Hang the flip on. Powys, are you invading England right now? I don't necessarily think I want you to do that because I'm going to inherit this bloody area. Oh no, what's happening? What have you done? Yeah, he just declared war against someone called King Edgar the Just. Guys, we want to be friends with England. Did no one give you the memo? I've married my flipping brother to a baby to have peace. What are you... Yes, you can't win this war. What are you doing? Why are you trashing this area? Oh god. Right, so England's shown up. Obviously, they're much, much more powerful. And they're now just going to trash Powys. Because, oh god. Oh, Queen Rio's in there as well. Oh, don't do anything bad to Queen Rio. She probably advised against this. Oh, you stupid bastards. Well, actually, if he gets himself killed in battle, this might actually work out pretty nicely. Right, England, go right ahead. Just don't actually trash the county. But if you kill him in battle, 100% fine. You crack on with that. Do whatever you want. No problem. Just leave the county alone. Alright? Lovely. How did you think this was going to work out well for you? How? What did you think was going to happen when you declared war on cocking England? Your one county. What did you think they were going to do? Yeah, would you believe the war's going in favour of England? Well, I'm staying out of this one. 100%. Oh, bloody hell. Right, I'm guessing that right now, she is actually going to be... No! Technically, the Queen is actually located back here in Cornwall. They live separately because she's part of my dynasty. They did manage to produce a child already, which I'm not quite sure how they did, if she's in Cornwall and he's up in Wales, but a way was found and we do not ask questions about Rio. How's my military going, by the way? Hang on, we've got ourselves... Okay, that's a bit better. I can raise about 1,000 by myself, and as for, yeah, my vassals, they should represent, well, not much to be honest. Very, very little indeed. Yeah, this is why having your own domain that's as big as possible is kind of important, because vassals don't really contribute much. I'm just going to check no one's actually got themselves a claim on this whole area, right? So, Petty Kingdom of Powys, County of Powys. Who's a claimant on that? This guy is. He better not be there. Actually, can he even take that? I don't think he can. And right now, also, for some reason, he's hiding. So, hopefully... Yeah, best case scenario, honestly, you guys just kill the former king. Hand it straight over to me. I promise I will manage it better than he did. By which I mean it will belong to someone who's got a non-aggression pact with you. So really, this kind of suits everybody. But you didn't need to do this, you stupid bastard. And, I think my Chancellor just picked up a daughter. Very, very good indeed. Let's just give her a focus. And when I say very good indeed, not so much, because bloody hell, I'm just swimming in daughters and I've got precious few sons. And something very important has happened, which is the Count of Glamorgan has come of age. He is right now my only vassal count, so obviously he expects to be on the council. The problem is, the really big problem is, he's not very good. I mean, he's not terrible either, he's just not spectacular. So his focus is he wants to become a councillor. Okay, fine. And theology focus. Okay, bit of a learning focus for you. And humble, content, patient. How would you feel about being my new court chaplain? Because, in all fairness, Nomino's not exactly spectacular, to be honest. Are you actually up for this? No, for whatever reason, you're not actually up for that. Yeah, irritatingly, he wants literally any job other than the one he might vaguely be qualified for. Well, we do have one advantage at least. He's content. And that significantly offsets that he's angry about not being on the council. I tell you what, my man. You work on improving yourself as a person, and when the time comes round, I will consider it. Because, you know, you're clearly kind of interested in theology, so if you just want to go a bit more down that route, then you will be more than welcome to be the chaplain for the court. That would be 100% fine. You get a vote and everything. It's a proper position. It's a good job. I think we're safe to leave him be for the time being. I mean, he is still, at least for the minute, in the positive. He's angry, but he needs to get better. He's still young. He's 16. He's a kid. Alright, if he improves over time, I mean, those aren't bad stats for a kid. Not bad at all. I've got worse kids in my empire. It's just... You just need to take some time. Grow yourself, improve, everything will be fine. Well, Kador's up for education, and honestly, it's not spectacular. He can't be marshal. He could, in theory, be stewardy. That might sort of work. He seems to have a decent, yeah, base stewardship here. Base of 5 and then fussy +1. That's not terrible, all things considered. Fine. Even though you don't necessarily have the right traits for it, I'm going to give you a stewardship education, and I'm going to assign you a good teacher right now. Here we go. We've got a courtier here who is actually a fortune builder. That will do very, very nicely indeed. Not perfect, not Midas touched, but do what you can. See if you can educate him. Oh, cock. So remember that elf guy who was saying, oh, he won't be able to get hold of Powys? He did. So, basically, now if I want to actually fully unify the Kingdom of Wales, I'm going to have no flipping choice but to actually go to war with England. So, well done, you stupid bastard. You ruined everything. You ruined it all. You could have just waited. You could have just waited until you died. And I would have got powers and everything would have been fine. But no. Right, what the bloody hell are we going to do with Powys now then? Oh, his opinion of me is negative. Well, my opinion of him is negative too, because he's a cocking idiot. Why would you have gone to war with England to try and get hold of Hereford, of all places? What did you want? What were you trying to flipping get? You didn't even have a claim. What were you doing? You had no claims. Great, so this guy's just basically cost me Powys and... oh dear. Who just actually died there? Was that my... oh, that was John's wife. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, why did I marry you to someone who was 40? Did I do that? Was I supposed to do that? Oh, I didn't remember her being quite so old. Right, so she's just died of complications related to gout. Right, John, time to find you a better wife. One who's not dead. And in fact, right now, John is officially the Tannis, so I really feel like he ought to be hot stuff in the marriage market. Okay, so here's a thought. It might, in theory, be a bit late for John, though. Oh. If I marry John down right now to a lowly courtier to try and get someone who's quick into the Empire, yeah, that's going to knack his prestige, and he actually is potentially going to run the show, because I'm pretty sure votes can't be taken back once they're cast. I've got to get him married to somebody who's not going to cost him a ton of prestige. I need to find someone else to marry these other people who are floating around who are quick. Where have all the good women gone is my question. The vast majority of my marriage options are so low-born or just lower than me in general that it would cost me a giant chunk of prestige to get married. The only half-decent person I can actually find is... you. You seem decent-ish. Because, yeah, you're actually willing to potentially get involved here. You're apparently actually an heir as well, which is fascinating. Okay, that's not the worst thing in the world. Heir to Salerno, and would say yes to a marriage. Intriguing. Well, I'm not sure where you got that from. She seems pretty far down the queue to me. Actually, you know what? He's not wrong. It's Outmark up here, which is a tiny, tiny portion of the Holy Roman Empire. Do I necessarily want to inherit that? Because if I inherit that... and as a result, I have a bit of land that belongs to the Holy Roman Empire. Would that mean, by default, I would become part of the Holy Roman Empire because then something in my territory technically belongs to... because can you actually get out of a territory by the... you know what? We're going to say yes and we'll work around it later. Oh, good. More daughters from martial parents. I am so glad that this has occurred again. Now, don't make it too explicit because that would be mean, but I am just going to call this girl useless right now, and we'll work from there. Also, guess who's actually rolled up back at my court now just expecting to be fed and watered and whatever? The stupid bastard who lost a bit of Wales. So damn tempting. Anytime you'd like to finish with a bloody claim, that'd be great, by the way, because we've been waiting for you to find a claim for some bloody time at this point. Come on, hurry it up. And we've also got, improved castle walls, improved everything. Oh yeah, monthly balance +5. At this point, I could actually hire mercs, and the deficit wouldn't even be that bad from it, which is marvellously good news. And I've been spending more time with Howl. Good! Howl is excellent. I like Howl. Howl seems to be a good egg. And a murmur was heard through the room when I judged a felon to death. It was a just sentence, if perhaps a bit harsh. Right, I might be slowly slipping towards cruelty here. Well, when I say slipping, I already am cruel. So that might be why, yes, I'm trusting, cruel, temperate, and chaste. So that might be why I'm a little bit slow on the old children. And by the way, Havoc is... how's Havoc? Havoc is technically still sickly. He's only 1 right now. Okay, seriously, Doctor. You've got 1 chance here. Havoc lives. I'm going to say, oh, Havoc's not for it. Well, he is a baby, John. You might be getting just a bit ahead of yourself if you're expecting him to actually be good at stewardship yet. And I think I figured out what was going on, why sometimes when you go into the sub-region, stuff is being built. Because of course, technically, this area is under the command of a mayor who's paying taxes but does still have his own income. So, on occasion, he's actually doing upgrades by himself, which is marvellously good news. And I'm tempted to just upgrade Lidford a little bit more, but for the time being, I'm going to hold off. I just want to be floating money in case I urgently, really urgently, need to buy mercs. By the way, John, how are you getting on with your new wife? Do you like your new wife? Yeah? Good wife? You kind of look pretty similar, actually. You have very similar facial structures. In fact, you might actually be the same person. It's just she doesn't have a moustache and she does have a bit of blush, but I swear they look weirdly similar. That's actually kind of odd, yes. Ah, and my spy master has returned from Capua with excellent news. He's been stealing a whole bunch of technology, and now basically I either get 50 points to military, 50 to economic, or 50 to cultural, and prosperity of capital increases. Well, that seems like excellent news. Well done. Let's just go over to technology here, and we just went up. That was military. That's totally jumped up a bit. Well, I say let's actually just send you straight back out there to keep spying, but how about you go and check out something else? And no, not Constantinople, because right now that place is a little bit on fire, and all of those places are on fire in general. How about over here? This seems fun. Come over here and figure out what's going on here. Northern Spain, that's got to be fun. That's a nice holiday for you. And bloody hell, Dorset has decided to come and have another go, have they? Right, relations between me and England are getting strained. Make him disappear. Now, this is the third time we've attempted this, and every time it's gone wrong. But please, just get rid of him. And finally, we managed to make it happen. Good. There's no trace leading back to me. Excellent. So, that has... Oh. Apparently he was my acquaintance. Yes, I know he died. I didn't actually like him very much. Meanwhile, honestly, Duke Wolfnoth, me and you kind of like each other. How about you just, like, naff off and don't actually try and take over my territory, please? Just stay out. Now, King Edgar the Just. As we are apparently having some very small border issues right now, would there be any interest in? No. Political concerns, base reluctance. He'd need to think a lot more highly of King Conan III before I could have an alliance with England. Still, non-aggression pact will do as a starting point. And once again, wife pregnant. Hopefully this time, child not sickly. And actually, worth noting, my child does rather appear to be no longer marked as sickly. I think Havoc has actually managed to survive. Although I find this quite hilarious. Havoc is 2 years old and apparently has a negative view of me because of my short reign and tapestry succession. So, he has got some sophisticated political views for a 2-year-old. I feel like potentially he shouldn't have those just yet. And here we go. Let's see if we can just get young Havoc trained in a slightly more, struggly sort of way, leading into willful or rowdy, alternatively brooding, intrigue, haughty, martial. Let's go for struggle. Havoc should struggle. He's struggled all his life so far. Let's keep him on that sort of a route. Oh, good! More daughters! I am so glad that there are endless cocking daughters. Also, your name can't be Rio. There's already a Rio. Your name shall be Orange, my new daughter. Not Orange, Orange. It's very important her name is pronounced Orange. This doesn't particularly pertain to me, but I would just like to point out that the current heir to the neighbouring county of Somerset is Samson Samsonson, which is possibly the greatest name for anybody ever. In fact, good old Useless, I'm going to just get her betrothed right now to the heir of Somerset, just to basically stop Somerset attacking me in future, which they totally 100% will do otherwise. Though then again, I might want the opportunity to attack Somerset. Dorset seems to be the bigger problem. Dorset, how about you? No, trying to arrange anything with Dorset is difficult. Fine, I'll keep Useless back for the time being. It would of course be quite odd if she turned out to be useful very quickly. Oh yeah, and I was trying to assassinate a mayor at some point. I bribed a whole bunch of people, I just kind of forgot about it. So, approve the plan, attempt to assassinate a mayor who I think was trying to do bad things to me and just generally annoyed me. So, yeah, disguised as highwayman. Let's just see if that actually works out, or if it fails, because assassinations seem to not always work out that well. Success! He has died under suspicious circumstances. Oh, those nasty bandits. Good. Screw you for trying to make a claim on my territory. Also, you, my good man, you've got one child who's not dead, and I think your wife's pregnant. Time to change over to something else. Yes, a war footing. That is potentially of use. Hunting or war? War footing. We need to get you better at war. So, yeah, that goes straight up to 7, which is absolutely flipping marvellous. I'm not quite sure what State Marshal really does, by the way. It doesn't seem to do anything other than just slightly increasing the reinforcement rate. So, yeah, the guy who I appoint to my Marshal just basically sits in the capital behind a recruiting desk eating all the pies. He doesn't really seem to contribute much. And I'm hoping that now I've actually got that set, there might be... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, it's just a headache. It's just a headache. It's fine. I'm not dying just yet. Slow fever. He insists you follow his instructions. Oh, I should have fired this guy when I had the chance. Right. You about to kill another bloody king? I'm not sure that did anything. Well, of course it didn't. Of course it didn't. He's the most useless bastard in the world. Oh god, I'm about to lose another king to an incompetent doctor. Is this guy just like a foreign agent sent to destabilise my realm? Because I'm beginning to suspect he might be. Oh, this is good news though. That's a second son that's just been born. And this one isn't sickly. Nice. And Havoc's little brother shall be called Crisis. There we go. We've got 2 strapping young lads coming through the ranks right now. That's absolutely marvellously good news. And I'm hoping, yes, this is exactly what I was hoping for. So martial-related events, which hopefully will help me get my own martial skills up. So he's come to me with a suggestion. My lord, it is my opinion that Mayor Ossatil of Axminster will make an excellent military commander. Okay, so he gains a minor title of commander, or I've got other candidates in mind. I see no reason why not. We could do with a couple of extra commands. I don't think we've actually got any right now. So that will help lead the army if need be. And... bloody hell. Right, okay. So, Conan III. Bit of a write-off. As it turns out, you have cancer. I'm going to guess you don't survive that. On the plus side, I'm not going to have the headache anymore. Okay, well that's just catastrophically bad luck. Okay, so, bad news. You just basically, yeah, just put the sword away. You're probably not going to be using it. Let's just, everyone just make sure John's ready for John is not ready for, oh, bloody hell. Oh, this is not good news. This is appalling news. John's dreadful. Oh, God. What are we going to do? We need to raise better children. Like, in a real flipping hurry. Why have we got so many people dying? Okay, that's it. I'm firing the doctor. Hang on, where is he? Where's the doctor? We're getting a new doctorate, okay? Would you believe the council decided to vote yes for this action? Apparently just tossing him in the dungeon is fine. There we go. So he's now locked away in the dungeon. Good. Let's get ourselves a new, better doctor. Here we go. Recruit a court physician. Please. Somebody good. I hope I don't have to wait long. I hope so too. You've got cancer. I doubt there's a cure to that, but, you know, just try eating various domesticated animals. You never bloody know. Your court physician has come to see you. How? How has he come to see me? He's in the dungeon. How did this happen? Okay, I'm going to be honest. I probably shouldn't trust him with experimental treatments right now. He's got a negative opinion, but he's in the cooking dungeon. Okay. I mean, I guess we may as well. I'm already dying. I mean, in theory, if he does something extreme, like cut off the entire limb that's cancerous, I could recover. That's not impossible. Go for it, you mad bastard! Go for it! My life is in your hands! Oh no. Oh, what's about to happen? So, he identified the tainted tissue, which was the root of the disease, and removing it would most likely cure you. You were most pleased and agreed to the surgery, however, in hindsight, you wish that he told you that the tissue was your face. Did he just amputate my face? Has my face been amputated? Right, this is why I put him in prison, or maybe this is why I shouldn't have put him in prison. Right, do I not have a face anymore? But I've actually recovered from the cancer, I don't actually know. I'm disfigured, diplomacy -4, and severely injured, oh great, martial -2, and intrigue -2, and health -2, and oh bloody hell. Have I recovered from the cancer though? Is the cancer actually... Oh, I'm not looking so hot. I'm not looking great. No, I've still got the cancer! Didn't even sort the cancer, he just cut my face off! Oh, my beautiful face! Oh, Ingfrid. I'm so sorry. Oh. Oh, none of this has worked out as I was hoping it would work out. To be honest. And now I'm back down to bloody Marshall 4. Oh, mild illness! I've got cancer and I don't have a face! Ah, but here's some good news. Scouts bring word of a mystic blind man that... Oh, God. Right, the only worse thing than an incompetent doctor is a mystic blind man who claims to work miracles. I'm gonna let a blind... You know what? Why not? I'm dying of cancer and I haven't got a face anymore. Go for it. Bring him on. Let's see what he can do. Just need to spend 13 gold to bring him to court. That's absolutely great. So presumably, has he already actually arrived, or do we need to wait for him to arrive? Nope, he's already here. So I've got myself a court physician. Probably should have checked his stats first. Ooh. 21 learning. 21 learning. That's pretty good. Though he's not actually a doctor, is he? He's not actually a doctor. Oh God, I've just hired someone who's not actually a doctor. That's a... We make a good pair, though. I've got no face and he's got no eyes. So, you know, it's fine. Everything's under control. This raid has slightly gone off the rails, I'm gonna be honest. Also, I've decided the old doctor's just getting executed. Alright, he's just going down at this point. So, I can execute him. He's so insignificant no one will care, but it does cost me some piety. Okay, or I can banish him, but also confiscate some gold. Or I could release him. Alright, fine, I'm just going to banish him, but I'm going to steal all his assets on the way out. Go away! You are now banished from my kingdom forever. So, let's just see what the new mystic can do, because I am currently very, very sick. Like, you know, cancer, no face, disfigured, etc. So if he can solve any of that, he's welcome to try. I think he's already going to do so, because over in the events panel, yeah, seek treatment for illness. I can't have been treated recently, so I just need to wait for the moment. I'm gonna be honest, I doubt I'm gonna survive too much longer. My health is catastrophically low right now. Health -3, that's another health -2. I've got nothing that increases my health right now because war doesn't. I think hunting increases health +1. I'm not naturally a healthy person. King Conan III of Cornwall cannot be too long for this world, which is a shame, because his heir is even flipping worse. And the really annoying thing is, we've actually got some vaguely competent female people in the realm. It's just no one's willing to cocking vote for them. Just look at how good Rio is. Please, people, let Rio rule. She would do a very, very good job. Bloody Medea is actually excellent. Fortune builder, temperate. She's got 16 stewardship. They're all so much better than John. Why would we let this guy run the place? He's terrible. I'm going to nominate Howl just to see if maybe somebody might jump ship to voting for Howl. At least then we'll have flipping martial strength on our side. Though I'm not sure these votes are allowed to change at this point. So, one person decided to vote for Kador. I've voted for this guy. Okay, this isn't going to go well. This might be a bad time for our empire. We might just need to focus on just trying to grow the next generation better. And we've had some very, very poor luck with, yeah, illness. I built a special hospital and everything. Take him to the hospital, go on. Actually, I can upgrade the hospital too, but it's very, very expensive to do, blimey. It's because this actually increases technology, and this increases disease resistance and piety. Fine, so these are some... You know what? I'm not desperately surprised, all things considered. And apparently, for the time being at least, Orange is the new flipping heir. She's 0 years old. She's a baby. She's a baby, and she's temporarily the... Oh, God, no. No. Oh. Right. So... Let us take a moment to remember the reign of King Conan III, A reign that once felt like it was so full of promise. A great man with a magnificent beard who had dreams to be King of Wales. Dreams that didn't work out because those under him were incompetent and let parts of Wales fall into English hands for literally no reason whatsoever. And then he got sick and was treated by the most incompetent doctor in the world who cut off his face, and now he's dead. And to be honest, that's probably a mercy under the circumstances. And he is survived by 2 very young sons who may well go on to be king one day. We just don't bloody know. Who actually knows? He was a godly man, apparently. He's with Jesus now. And that means we welcome, in inverted commas, King John. A large man. A large man! Fine. I've been eating a few pies recently. You didn't need to point it out. We hope that he puts the realm before his own hunger. They're just calling me fat. Oh, that's so unfair. I mean, I'm a bit gluttonous, but still. Oh. Oh, dear. Oh, no. Oh no. A flamboyant, frail schemer who's also got health minus 0.5, so he probably won't last bloody long either. Still, he's got a nice hat. He's got a very nice hat indeed. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'd say we call it a part there. This has not been a good few years for us. This has not been a good few years at all. Conan III's reign was very, very short indeed. Hang on, how long was he actually reigning for there? Elected in 1085, died in 1090. Right, only 5 years. That's just really, really bad luck. Really bad luck indeed. And that does raise the interesting question, who the hell are we going to elect as the next Tannist? Because right now, the line of succession is full of children and women. And very competent women. Vote for the women, you mad bastards. Vote for the women. Right, we'll see. We'll see how exactly we recover from this disaster next time, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, I've been John. This has been Many a True Nerd. This has been Crusader Kings 2. Thank you very much, and goodbye. I can also just take this person and make them female. Can I just... Perfect! I'm delighted we share the same level of ambition. Complete mediocrity all of the way. And then, oh, the people at the back just kind of popped into existence there for a second. Okay, let's try this again with something else. I'm going to see if we can get Mr. Potato Head into this game.